It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. I'm going to say it straight off the bat. Relationships are like flowers. No, not smell nice, none of that. They need attention, care, nurturing to bloom and flourish, and water. We can probably all do with drinking more water every day. But we are unpacking this morning exactly how we get that right. And we've got an amazing panel with us. And we are getting into mastering our relationship game. And someone else who has, I think, given a lot of advice when it comes to relationship and marriage is Canadian psychologist who was mentioned just a second ago, Jordan B. Peterson. Take a look at this.
Don't stop dating. At least once a week, you need a date. And you know, if you're lucky, maybe it's 3 times a week. And if you're sane, you can probably manage it twice. But once is a minimum. And so you got to make it a priority, man. You got to have that communication. You have to. It's the details, the painful details of life that have to be negotiated, you know, and it's work. Don't lose that romantic vision, man. That's a big mistake, but you have to work at it. Like, you have to work at it real hard to keep it alive. But it's worth it if you can do it.
Love him or hate him, some people just want to punch him in the face. He is one of the most, I think, triggeratory, is that a word? Influences in the world, never mind psychology. Dr. Eve, keeping it to this particular framework within the relationship, okay? Because I know he triggers me as well. But how do you feel about that notion?
Of the dating?
Get it off your chest.
No, the dating, no one should be setting a date time because dates are always associated with sexuality. And it's like, here we are, we're going to go on a date, we're going to have this intimate time together, and that is then an expectation of we're going to be sexual afterwards. And this is something that I think I always discourage. I discourage from doing. I think it's great to hang out together and to be able to have time, intimate time, whatever that looks like for you, but not this whole thing of the dinner date. Because she and I am being very heterosexist now. She's going to come back and she's going to say, I'm bloated, I'm tired, or I want to go to sleep. And he's maybe pumped up and saying, okay, this is expectation. You spoke about expectation of what I'm supposed to do. And then there could be incredible tension and distancing and abandonment that happens after. So I don't know.
Maybe there's an inauthentic connect there. We're trying to paint over something to say, well, as long as we're going on a date once a week and we have sexual activity within that space, we're okay as a couple, which isn't necessarily...
For some.
But and the flip side of that is, I noticed like a lot of us going, that'd be great. I'd love to have a date night and you know...
I think you could have a date morning or night or evening or whatever it is, but also not to do away with the expectation the society has set about what should happen at that time. It should be a time of connecting.
Connecting, exactly. It's communication, because if you're not checking in, this crazy old head will take you in places. If you're not letting this out, it will go to dark, crazy, polarized places. How do we avoid that? How do we get the communication right?
So Graham, remember, I think that, again, if we are families of origin, a lot of times we don't have this, and what I call feeling language, really. And I think that's where the issue is. Because people think communicating is talking about the chores and things that we have, or the must-dos. But because we don't have, and I think the first part of it is to almost teach ourselves the feeling language, to be able to express that to our partner. Because I think that is where we get missing. And I believe a lot of work that we have to do, especially in South Africa, is this issue around feeling language. Because it's about expressing those kind of things. Because remember, it's the feelings that we feel that propels us forward in terms of what we have to do. That
that's how it starts. It starts with feeling, thought, action. And that's like mechanically how we operate. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of what we're going through as a country right now is because we don't have the language to process so much trauma that so many people have gone through. And then we keep arriving at this kind of warped outpouring of action because we haven't done that. Curtly, how are you guys getting it right? Because, and I know not all the time, but do you feel like you are... That's why you're not allowed a microphone. We don't even speak to a microphone. Does it feel like you are getting the basis right? Because I know that the outcome isn't always what you want because you're two different people. But in terms of that framework for communication, how have you kind of laid the foundation for that?
And I think the foundation was laid in our 5 years together. That is where we laid the basis of where we're going and in terms of what our journey is going to look like our foundation was very strongly laid in that 5 years of seeing each other, dating or courting, if you call it that in the old times. But like that is where our foundation was laid. Our communication skills was laid. What do you expect or more? You don't want to lose your individuality in terms of dating or in terms of getting married. And that is important. I think that we haven't lost our own identity, so we can still be ourselves and still see each other. So I feel like I'm on the good part because the experts validated it.
Exactly, yeah,
so I feel like I'm on the good journey.
No, 100%. Look, I mean,
100%.
this was going to go one of two ways. Either you're going to be failing miserably or you're going to be amazing. I can see Gavin looking at you, wondering how we can take your voice and just emulate that kind of gravel. Hey, it's
I love it.
Beautiful, buddy. It is very difficult when you can practice this yourself in your own life path, but when you're mixing with other people's hopes and dreams, it becomes very difficult. How do you keep an eye on the collective as well as look after yourself within that?
Interesting, because I've started doing that at the moment. I've started looking after myself. So like I've got my wife and then the kids, and I want to look after them as a collective and be this one unit.
Yeah.
Right? But as time goes by, especially in a relationship, when you go into 10 years on, there's fights that have happened over time or little things that have happened that get in the way of the relationship. But you've got to sort of build that back up, the trust you've got to build up because you lost it over there. So what I eventually started doing is take the expectation out. Instead of like standing there doing dishes saying, you got to join me, or this one must do their part, or this one, I do my part. If you join in on it, it's great. But at the same time, I don't keep this expectation on my wife of if I'm doing it, you have to do it. I'm trying to make myself stronger, and then we join together.
For sure.
Together as a strong unit, instead of trying to be the strong unit, and if one person is having a bad day, you just take it out on them.
Yeah,
which is not great,
It's not the Hunger Games.
Well, exactly, man. Yeah, for sure, dude. And that was spot on, buddy. Because if I think about it, that's where I fall down a lot, is with this expectation that's based on absolutely nothing to do with her. It's my life path. It's my journey. It's my boarding school experience. It's my all of that. And I'm putting it on her, thinking that this is what being in a partnership is. Take responsibility for your own stuff and let her take responsibility for hers. Any advice that you would leave in this space, okay, when it comes to self-care?
Honesty.
Honesty.
Oh, self-care. Have pride in yourself. Have pride in your partner. Respect one another. Respect yourself. And honesty is key. Honesty and respect, to me, is very important in a relationship. Yeah.
I love that. You all have the most beautiful voices. You all look great. Clearly, the self-care is there. But you have dropped some absolute gems today. Thank you so much. Oh, man. Hopefully no one here is going to charge at all. I hope you just soaked that up in the beautiful symphony of love and connection. May you find the harmony that fuels your relationship and fills you with that boundless joy, because that's what you can access through this gateway. Now you too can master your own game, love, respect yourself, and along the way, win on one of 10 masterclass subscriptions valued at 3,000 Rand. This is special, and that'll help you to up your skill and just feel so much better about yourself. And to enter, simply head over to masteryourlook.co.za, find the competition post, and answer the following question. If you could master any skill, what would it be? And I think people are going to be drifting into the emotional space now. Don't forget to include that hashtag BigFlex and hashtag MasterYourLook. And the T's and C's that do apply can be found on their website. And I would suggest give this a try. This process is life-changing. We have seen it firsthand. To all of you, you're clearly getting it right most of the time. And that's all we can hope for. Thank you so much. Hopefully you have picked up a couple of these gems as well.